Hey guys, it's Cindy. It is craft fair season. Yay! I don't do any craft fairs this time of year. My shop is too busy and there are a lot of other reasons. I just do summer shows. But I know for a lot of you, this is where you get the bulk of your sales. This time of year, doing in-person events. And you might be feeling a little stressed right now. Maybe you're feeling like you don't have enough items in your shop. You need to have more inventory and you just haven't had time to build up that inventory and it's getting down to the wire. Or maybe you're feeling that you don't have enough items in that $10 and under price point, which you really need to have a lot of those. Or maybe you're feeling like you don't have something, a conversation starter that's going to draw people over to your shop. So I wanted to do a quick video for you all and give you a couple of ideas of items that you can make just for a few dollars and you can crank them out really quickly. This video is about my vintage moon journal, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, but you might also want to check out my video. It's in my playlist under junk journals, I believe, junk journal tutorials on how I make journals super quickly just out of cardboard. These are unique, they're fun, they don't cost a lot to make, they're super simple. So this is one idea of something that you could do, and they just look really neat and they're fun to hold and to touch. So this is one idea. But if you watch my craft fair series, you know that back in June, I think it was, I did my first juried art show in Saco, Maine, and this Vintage Moon Junk Journal was a shocker to me. So many people were coming up and wanting to know about these vintage moon photos, and they were coming up to my shop and buying other things. This wasn't my best seller, but this is what drew people over to my shop, and they would pick it up and touch it. And let me tell you, once they've picked up your item and they're touching it, you're half of the way there, maybe even more. So I want to show you how to make these. They're very inexpensive. They're very quick. You could make 50 of these in a day and for very cheaply. So this is what I want to show you today. It is a very quick journal. This can just come off or you can untie it, whatever you want to do. It has a journal card on the front. I didn't put journal lines on the back of this yet. And then on the inside is a pretty patinaed paper, and it's got one signature, 20 sheets of paper in it, and you can make this super quickly. So let me show you how I did that, and I'll see you soon. See you in a minute, actually. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is start on my covers. I like to do everything in kind of a production line fashion. If I'm going to make 50 of these journals, then I want to do it in a production line, and that way you can get these done really quickly. So the first thing that I do is determine what I'm going to use for my covers. In this case, I like to use wallpaper. I have several wallpaper sample books, and wallpaper is really nice because sometimes it has a texture to it. You can't really see, but this has a really neat texture to it. Wallpaper has a protective coating on it, so it's going to be more durable than scrapbook paper. It's just a little more thick, but you definitely can use scrapbook paper. This is a great project if you have some collection packs where you have paper that maybe you only have 2 or 3 left of the collection pack and you don't know what you're going to do with them. This is a great way to use up your scraps because you really do want to have a variety of covers, and so that there's a little something for everyone. The only drawback to wallpaper is that the back is ugly. So you're going to have to take something and cover the inside too. So there's an extra step if you're using wallpaper. If you're using double-sided scrapbook paper, you're all set. That leaves out a step. But if you are if you are using wallpaper or something with a plain white background that you want to decorate, make sure you don't just take the paper and glue it down like this, because what's going to happen is when you fold it and get all your signatures in there, this center is going to be wonky. So you do want to cut it in half and put one here, and do your front and your back covers separately, one piece here and one piece there, instead of just gluing it across the whole thing. So I'm not going to do that right now. I want to just keep going with this. You get the idea, I'm sure. You want, this journal is designed to use 8.5 by 11 paper. That way it's really quick, no cutting, all you have to do is fold. But I do like to have the cover be a little bigger than 8.5 by 11, because if you don't, let me show you, I haven't made these in a while and I forgot my measurements, so I had this other piece of wallpaper that I cut only 1/4 of an inch bigger on each side. I cut it at 8 3/4 by 11 1/4, and so when you put the papers in, they kind of stick out on the side, because when you fold your papers, because we're doing one kind of larger signature, you can see that the papers are uneven. The ones in the middle start to protrude more. Now, when I'm making a fine journal, I go put this in my paper trimmer so that the edge is completely even. But I think for a fun little journal like this, it's okay to have those uneven pages. It kind of makes it easier to flip through a little bit. I like that. But we need a little bit more than 8.5 by 11. So the wallpaper here is cut by 8 3/4 by 11. Oh my gosh, I already forgot. 11.5, I think it is. Yeah, 8 3/4 by 11.5. So again, doing a production line, get all your scrapbook paper or your wallpaper out, trim them all down. Now let's pretend we have a stack of wallpaper here, okay, or a stack of covers here. You're ready to go on to the next step. I do personally, well, if I'm using wallpaper, then next I will do the inside. Okay, so let's pretend I did that. And I do like to round the corners. I think it just, here is what it looks like with a square corner. I just think it dresses it up a little bit to take this extra step and round the corners. So I just round them at 1/4 of an inch using my Crop-A-Dial, or use whatever corner edger you have. So then I would just sit here, and you can actually fold it in half and do it, and do 2 corners at a time if you're really trying to crank these out. Whoops. And that would be the next step, is I would sit and I would round all my corners. Then I would fold them all in half, and you can just do it with your thumb, or if you're using something a little thicker, use your bone folder. I would fold all my covers in half and put them in a stack up here. Next, I would work on the paper. Now, I found that for myself, I would be in such a mood to make a journal, but I would be out of tea stained paper. And it would be weeks before I could get to making tea stained paper again. Get that out of the way. And if you're doing something like this, for you to tea stain thousands of pieces of paper, we're talking 10, well, I mean hundreds, to 10 per journal. If you want to make 50 journals, that's a lot of tea staining or coffee staining. So I went on the lookout for a paper that I thought would look really good in journals, that would kind of look coffee stained. And this is what I found. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to have the link below as to where I got it. I can't remember what I paid for it, but I did a lot of research on color and texture and weight, and had a bunch of companies send me samples, and this is what I determined I really like. So I got this paper from paperpapers.com. They shipped really quickly. I got this in a couple of days. It was really quick, so I mean, you can check with them, and of course now this time of year things are getting really slow, but for me it was really quick, and I bought this about a month or so ago. Paperpapers.com. Let me cover my address here, and it is Duratone. I'm reading right here, Duratone Newsprint Aged. It's 8.5 by 11 paper, and it is text weight paper. And you get 50 sheets in a pack. So I bought a whole bunch of this, and now all I have to do is fold this paper in half and I can make journals. I'm going to show you at the end some tips and tricks what I'm doing right now is making a naked journal, blank journal. But if you don't want a blank journal, but you don't have time to make an actual junk journal, put in pockets and flips and whatnot, there are some quick ways to decorate this up that I'll show you. I'll just show you some quick tips at the end. But this is what I decided to go with, and so now all I have to do is fold it in half and it's ready to go in my journal. So I will take, if I'm doing production line, I'll take 10 pieces, and I think that's 10, but let's just pretend, and I will just sit and fold them in half. I know this is 10 here. And when I'm done, I will nest them all, so tuck them all in, and then I will put them here. Put my next cover on top, do 10 more. Put my next cover on top, do 10 more. So they're all ready to go. Or you could even, I don't even know why I'm putting them on top, but you could even just put them in. And then put them in. And this does not take long at all. Now, because you're rushing maybe, don't be tempted to take all 10 sheets and fold it in half like this, because you're really going to get a wonky edge. You're going to get a wonky edge anyway, like I showed you, but it's even worse if you take all of them and fold them in half. So it is better if you fold each one individually. So now let's pretend I've done 50 of these. Now I have a nice stack. I've got all my journals with the pages inside, and I'm ready for the next step. Actually, this one is my flop. Let me put that over there. Okay, so let's pretend these are in here. You get them in there where you want to. So we've got just about 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. And if you've already folded this in half, then just nest your paper right in there. And then what I like to do is, keeping it kind of closed, I wasn't prepared with my binder clips. Then I have a bunch of binder clips, and what I'll do is keeping it kind of closed like this. It's hard to do on camera here. Here, let's do it this way. I will clip the back. So then when you open it, you can kind of make sure everything is straight. This part takes a little bit of time. Oops, you know what? I didn't make sure. There we go. Okay. Clip it. And then when you open it, just make sure that it's all nice and even. Make sure that the center is over your spine. Sometimes, if you're using scrapbook paper, I should have said this, sometimes it's easier not to pre-crease your scrapbook paper. Wallpaper is very forgiving. Well, this sheet isn't because I've been playing around with it, but sometimes it's really hard to line this crease up with this crease if you've already made it. Sometimes it's easier to put it down and then kind of line it up like this. So you have to sort of eyeball it. Then I like to take a pencil and a ruler. And this is where you're going to have to slow down just a little bit, okay? But you've already made good time. You're already well along with making these journals. And I like to butt my ruler up to the edge there, and I do a very soft pencil line that I'm going to erase later. because I found that when I take it over to the sewing machine, um, I can't see the crease unless I actually have a line there. This is now getting crooked. Okay, let me put a second binder clip on there. Now, if you have a bunch of binder clips, you can do a bunch of these at once. I don't have a lot of binder clips, so I can only do like 2 journals at a time. Still a little crooked. And then all I'm going to do is take this to my sewing machine and sew just a straight stitch right up the middle. I'm going to backstitch here a little bit and here a little bit so that it doesn't just unravel, and just run it through the sewing machine. I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so if I have a whole bunch of these already clipped and ready to go, I do just pass them through my sewing machine one after the other. I'll pass one through, clip, keep on going. And I do use a thread that pretty much matches this paper, so all you see really are a bunch of very neat holes. Wow, I actually sewed this one really well. Usually my presser foot goes back and forth, and usually I make 1 or 2 of these where I just can't sell it. The line is just bad, but this is good. And this is so good that I don't even have to erase. Wow. Okay, so that I hope that happens to you every time. For me, it doesn't. So now you can take your clips off, your binder clips, fold in half on your sewing line, and just make sure that your edge is good here. Now this is where you do want to have your bone folder. Crease it. And your journal is done. It's that simple. Obviously, I would have something on here. But a couple of things I wanted to show you if you do not want to have just a naked journal, then there are a number of things you can do. You can, if you have some nice stamps, no, let me use this. You can just stamp a few pages, especially the middle and the front, because that's usually where the people, your customers, are going to sort of flip through. But you could just stamp a little bit like that. Okay. Here's a little. This is a little. Oof, I need to clean the stamp off, I guess. Where's my black stamp pad? Just a little something there in the corner. I also, you also, because this is 8.5/11 and just text weight paper, you can pass these through your printer. So if you find some public domain images or buy some digital kits that you want to print a little something on a few of the pages, that's really pretty too. But again, that's an extra step. If you don't have time to do that, it's perfectly fine just to have a naked blank journal. People do like that. On the bottom right corner here, I do print the Scrapologist, my name, so that, this is advertising. When you pass these out, sell these, you want them to remember where they got it. They're not going to probably remember your name, or they're not going to know how to buy more from you if you have an Etsy shop or something like that. So make sure that you've got your name on it, or sometimes sticking a business card in is not enough. Maybe this is going to be a gift. So I always do that. The other thing that you can do is you can make the papers look coffee stained, and let me show you. Okay, I was looking everywhere for my stencil and I couldn't find it, so I had to go cut another one. This is a stencil of coffee stains. Isn't it awesome? I bought this on from Silhouette, and I use my silhouette to cut one whenever I need a new one. I just cut them. I just cut them onto. This is the back of a. This is the cover of a, or the back cover of a Graphic 45 paper pack. That's all it is. And I use this thing all the time, but why I can't find it now, I do not know. But I use my Tim Holtz Vintage Photo, and you can just make your own coffee stains if you really want to make this look coffee stained. And you really want to dress the journals up. But again, this is another step. And it's not a step that you have to do. Don't feel like you can't just have a blank journal. But see, isn't that awesome? So you could just do a couple of quick little coffee stains on your paper. Oops, I didn't do that one. Well, you can't really see it on the camera, but it's there. So you could do some things like that on your paper as well. And this was 99 cents. Again, if you're doing in-person events and you're trying to have some lower end items, lower budget, $10 or under items, this is the kind of thing that you know, every little bit adds up. So this is only 99 cents. I don't remember what the paper was. The wallpaper books were free for me. Or if you're using your scraps, you know, they're just sitting there, not being used. So there you go. Our journal is done. Now, if you want to do, so there are a number of things you can do from here because you do want to decorate these. So I have some, this is called Poly Venice lace in ivory. And I got this at Hobby Lobby, so I just buy it in big spools. I buy whatever's on sale. I did not pay $5.99. But buy whatever is on sale. It really doesn't matter as long as it's kind of pretty looking like this. I really liked this. And I just take it and measure it out a little bit. This would be my next step. I would sit here and tie all of these and just do a pretty, oops, let me, I can't seem to do a bow right now. Let me move it this way. There we go. Just do a pretty little bow or a little knot. Something like that. I totally did not do this evenly. I'm just going to cut that off. Normally I would sit there and try to do it evenly, but I'm really trying to make this video short. But either this or a bow. This I will definitely use for a junk journal. And then let's figure out, this is so messy guys, but you get the idea. Let's figure out what we're going to stick in here. So what I did was made a bunch of these cards. I put these inside. Okay, I'm going to have to fix this. Now, if you watch my videos, you know about me about bows and glue. You know that I'm terrible at both. Okay? So, I'm just saying. Doing my best. So, this is what I did for my craft show, the in-person event that I did. And I kind of moved the bows down just a little bit so that the fun moons could show, and people were just walking over wanting to know more and wanting to know the story behind these photos, which was just super fun. I have a video on how to make these journal cards. Oh, I didn't do the back. These are journal cards. I usually put lines on the back, and I have a video in my playlist on how to do these. This is a digital kit available in my shop. You can print these off. It's only a couple bucks. I don't know. It's under $5. I don't remember. And again, this is another just cheap, inexpensive element that you can put in here. Other things that I've done on occasion is I've made little vellum, or not vellum, acetate leaves, and something like that can go in there. That's really pretty. I have videos in my playlist on all of this. It's under Junk Journal Ephemera. You'll find it. Here's another little card I made with real flowers on it. That looks super pretty. Time consuming though. This one and this one are time consuming. This one is not. This is another possibility. I have a kit, a digital kit in my shop on vintage birds. And so you could take one of those and put it inside. That is super pretty as well. So that's a whole other step. Making the journal is one thing. I would get it made. I would get everything wrapped, set those aside, and then mass produce whatever you're going to make for the outside. Whatever you decide. Maybe you already have stuff in your stash. Maybe you have, let's see what else I have here. Maybe you just have a bunch of tags. I have a bunch of tags and journal cards in my stash, things that I made. So you can put anything that you want in there, but whatever you think is going to dress it up. I really, and I'm not really pushing my kit here, guys. I really would recommend this because this is unusual, and I was stunned by how many people wanted to know more about these and wanted to just pick them up, look at them, touch them, and that's what you want. That's the interaction that you want coming over to your booth. And we can all learn from each other. You know, I'd love to hear in the comments below what works for you. What draws people over to your shop? Do you maybe do a giveaway? Do you have a barrel of lollipops? You know, you need something that's going to bring people over. But the thing I loved about this is people picked it up and touched it. And boy, once it's in your hands, if you're tactile like most of us, and we love all these different textures and things to play with, once they pick it up, well, you're 50% to 80% of the way there to a sale. So that's why I really like these vintage moon cards. So I really hope this helped. I sincerely hope that you are going to have a wonderful craft fair season. And I hope this, yeah, no, that's it. I was going to say, I hope this video helped, but I already said that. I'm tired. Okay, go forth and make sales. Okay, love you guys, and have a great season. Bye.